welcome to Pitch BrandTalk. I'm Sanil Sabarwal. I have with me today somebody who believes in creating the sound of a brand rather than the sound of a 30-second spot. If you were in Indian advertising, you would have already guessed by now that this is Rajeev Raja, who's the founder and soundsmith at BrandMusiq. Now, BrandMusiq has recently collaborated with Pepsico for their brand 7 Up and launched its first ever sonic identity in India, and this will eventually roll out globally. And to tell us more about this, we have Rajeev Raja with us. But before that, let's just see what the sonic identity, or rather, hear the sonic identity of 7 Up.
What does refreshment sound like? For 7 Up, we set out to create a global sonic identity that captures the brand's fizzy, uplifting spirit. We began with a simple idea: the 7 notes to refreshment. A 7-note mogo melody that represents the cool and playful world of 7 Up. The sound combines category codes like the signature splash and a melody designed to evoke optimism, lightness, and that unmistakable super-duper refresher energy. The result? A sonic identity that's instantly ownable, emotionally resonant, and built to travel across geographies, languages, and platforms. With 7 Up, refreshment isn't just tasted, it's heard, felt, and remembered.
I just want to, start off with when PepsiCo first came to you for their brand 7 Up to create a sonic identity. What was the conversation around at that time? Any brief that was given by the client or the agency?
Yeah, so, the first thing is this was for the 7 Up global brand. And it has been launched first in India. Right?
Okay.
So this will be rolled out across all its global markets, and that I think is really a fantastic challenge as well as a great opportunity for us, right? So actually, Vishal Kaul, who is the global marketing head of PepsiCo, actually called me, and we had met on a previous assignment for another brand, and he actually said, "Hey, we really think it would be interesting to have a sonic identity for 7 Up," and so of course we were delighted to sort of participate in the entire process. So we did go through a brand immersion with the team to understand the positioning of 7 Up, where it is today. You spoke of Fido Dido as something you remember, but I think the brand, for reasons best known to them, are no longer using Fido Dido. So I think the importance of having another ownable brand asset or distinctive brand asset, right, was the need of the hour. And today, the reason, I'll just digress a bit to give you an overall context of why a sonic identity is becoming so important for brands, is just the sheer noise, right, that exists today in the media environment, the clutter, the attention spans are dropping. There's a visual overload.
Very true.
We're on our phones the whole day. We're just looking at screens and looking at screens. So, how in the midst of this enormous visual information, how does a brand, make its presence felt and heard? So therefore, the sensorial dimension of sound becomes very important as a way to differentiate, not just differentiate my brand, to make it instantly recognizable, and at a deeper level to to really create something that evokes the feeling of my brand. So it's not just about cognition and recognition. It's also what kind of emotion do I want to evoke,
Okay.
right? And we know music is the carrier of emotion. In our lives, when we listen to music, there is a certain emotional response that we all feel, and that's why we get hooked onto music, right? So music is so important in our lives. Music at a neuroscientific level has proven abilities to trigger memory structures, right? In our brain. Music has a superpower that it is subconscious also, right? So when we watch a film and you come out of the film, right, you may not realize the power of music, but the music has played a big role. I think it was Steven Spielberg who said music is 50% of my film, and he said John Williams was the composer for the movie Jaws, and Steven Spielberg said John Williams was my shark, right? Because he created that blood-curdling sort of sound whenever the shark came, the da-da-da-dum, da-da-da-dum, that kind. So the power of music is known to all of us. How do we harness this music? How do we understand the science of sound? How do we understand the art of music and link it to the uniqueness of a brand, right? That essentially is the process that we're working on. We try and understand a brand as if it were a human being. And once we understand the personality of the brand as distinct from its competition, then we try and understand, using our Indian Navarasas, the key emotions that human beings go through, and what does the brand want to evoke? Does it want to evoke laughter? Does it want to evoke fun? Does it want to evoke a sense of caring? Does it want to evoke a sense of excitement and adventure? How does it do this? By our understanding of the science of sound. So if it is excitement, we know that we cannot play a gentle flute. We are not going to get excitement with that, right? It probably have to be a driving, maybe a guitar or a driving drum beat, etc., to give that kind of feeling. So for all these various moods and characters, brand personalities, we have starting points for music. And so similarly for 7up, after Vishal and I had this initial call, we presented to their team, the marketing team, which is sitting in Dublin. That's the global team. And we had some wonderful sessions where we understood the brand first. And our process has, a 3-stage process, which essentially tries to understand the brand, and then we create initial sketches of sound, what we call sonic mapping, essentially to deliver to what the brand stands for, musically, sonically. And then finally, we create what we call the sonic identity system, which is a Mogo-scape. I spoke of the Mogo, but the Mogo is surrounded by a Mogo-scape, which is like a 360-degree surround for the brand. It's a sonic palette. It's what we may call a brand anthem, but without any words. It's just musical with instruments, etc. And within that is a Mogo. And in this digital world, we also create a mini Mogo. A Mogo is typically 3 seconds. A mini Mogo is 1.5 seconds or under, right? And it's used to queue digital transactions or alerts, notifications, so on and so forth. So this is really the starting of the journey. And when we actually dived deeper into 7up, their position currently is ultimate refreshment. That's what they wanted to deliver, right? Super duper refreshment. That's really the theme. So how could we now deliver this sonically was the challenge for us under this entire sonic identity system and process, using the process that I spoke about.
Is this the first time that from India you will have a global sound out?
No, we've done the global sound of MasterCard.
Okay,
That was 5 years ago.
yeah. After that, this is the one.
This is the next global brand we worked on. We have worked on brands in Southeast Asia. We worked on Kraft Heinz based
Sure.
out of Indonesia. We worked on income insurance based out of Singapore. But I think this is the second big global brand we're working on. Yeah.
Now, AI is everywhere today. Whenever it seems to be a buzzword right now, wherever you go, it's always AI, AI, AI. But what was interesting is that you used this AI and combined it with emotion mapping, as you said, neuroscience, right?
Right.
So, what exactly can you just share a little bit? I mean, you spoke about it. How do you see this helping brands, when it comes to multi-sensory branding?
Yeah.
Particularly,
In
particularly in
retail,
the case of, because in the retail, because in this case, I believe it was in the retail touch points. So how does it actually go about it? Because I'm just wondering, I go and say in a retail store, how does it work?
yeah. So we'll come to the retail, but talking specifically of Sonic Scan, which is
Mhm.
our proprietary sort of AI tool, what we do is really it is possible for AI to actually tell you what emotions, what moods a particular piece of music is actually evoking, right? So if you feed in music into the AI tool, the AI is able to tell you, hey, this has so much, it's so much of optimism, so much of fun, so on and so forth. So you know whether it's within your brand parameters, right? Now, this is useful at many levels, but what we actually did was we studied the entire history of 7-Up, right? The music of 7-Up, the soundtracks that were used, etc., and fed it into our AI machine. Now, a sonic world or sonic parameters sort of emerged. Now, we did the same thing with the competition, right? 7-Up's competition. And from that, a very clear, distinctive sonic world for 7-Up was defined, which we then shared with the client, got their go ahead, and that really served as the foundation for our entire sonic strategy and compositions. Where AI can help is at various levels. So AI can test whether the sound that you have created is within brand parameters, for one, right? At the next level, if you're talking of generative AI can start creating versions for you, right? But with the sonic identity embedded, right? Which can be much faster than human beings can do it. But we still have a way to go between human artistic composition and AI's composition. So right now, I would say the world is still in a hybrid state.
Okay.
Right? So, and that's where we are too, because we don't want to create Muzak, right? We want to create sonic identities which are true to a brand, which sound like music, right? So I would say that at this stage, AI is an enabler rather than a creator, right? Who knows, the way AI is moving in the next year, within the next year, lots of things are going to change. So that's really where we see AI helping even in our processes, speeding up our processes, etc., etc. So it's a very interesting world.
Now, how are you using it at the retail touch points? Because last year I do, because a brand like Myntra also has its own sonic identity. We have also had like Britannia, which had tied up with the Q-commerce, and every time you put the product in the cart, you would hear the Britannia sonic identity. But these are all digital, right? These are all
Right.
primarily visual and digital.
Yes.
How have you taken this? Because my understanding is this is at the retail touch point. So how have you taken this online to offline? Because even if you think about, even if you see the other sonic identities, it's visual and you can hear it, right?
Right.
So how have you then from, it's usually offline to online, but in this case, how have you kind of transplanted it from online to offline?
Yeah.
As a consumer, how do I see it?
Yeah. So the as we speak, the sonic identity is still being rolled out, right? So all the executions are not in place, but I'm talking of the possibilities that can happen. There's the entire retail environment, which includes dispensers, etc., the fridges, the coolers at retail stores. So for example, now these fridges and coolers play the mini mogo when they're opened.
Okay, got it.
Right. So when every time the dispenser is open or the cooler is open, you can hear the mini mogo. Now that's just one example. The other examples are every can, every bottle, 7-Up bottle could have a QR code, which
Scan it and
you
you hear
scan
it.
it and you can trigger the mogo. You can go into the 7-Up playlist. Things like that. That's all work in progress, right? So once you have this sonic asset, the possibilities are enormous. So they're doing a lot of work on social media. So they're taking the 7-Up sonic identity and actually creating social media reels and interesting consumer activation ideas. Yeah, with using this sound.
Rajiv, like you just mentioned that a brand is basically in all our heads. It's a visual imaginary, and there's a lot of clutter all around us.
Yes.
The other thing for most of us in the 80s and 90s was jingles, right? Jingles,
Right.
but that seems to be jingles. I don't know, do they really exist now? Because if 80s and 90s, I'm sure if you look at some of the campaigns out of them, we still can hum those jingles, right? So, but again, that is very visual also, and even on the radio, the jingles play out, right? But in the case of a sonic identity, how do you see this helping brands build loyalty and then also, say, helping the purchase process? Because at the end of the day, it's all about sales, right?
Right. That's a good question. So, okay, let's talk of jingles. Right now, jingles were actually predominant at a time when television, or before that, radio first. Jingles started on radio. A great way to get consumer attention by building in your brand message or product message into a song, right? So then that leads, again, as we are saying, music and memory. So it's very memorable, you sing along, but what you're singing, the lyrics are actually all about the brand. So it's a wonderful way to get the message into minds, right? But that was radio. Radio evolved into cinema. Okay, so cinema, remember the days we used to go to the cinema theaters and watch the washing powder, Nirma washing powder.
But that is a jingle which people still remember.
Of course, it's brilliant. I'm absolutely, it's a wonderful composition. If you listen to la 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 la, it captured that freedom and liberation and the absolute fun that
Literal.
exactly.
Exactly.
So I'm doing a little quiz for you.
No,
or
but nowadays, I don't think there's any brands who I can recollect who have a jingle which are instantly recognizable.
no,
So is Sonic Identity also coming in for that?
yeah. So there's a reason why jingles have faded out. It's because, for example, if you look at the next stage from cinema was television, right? So there was an era when television was so big that every brand had to be on television.
Correct.
And therefore, again, it's a question of breaking through clutter there, etc. But today, with the kind of attention spans that people have, most television spots are not even 30 seconds, right? They're 15 seconds, 10 seconds, right? You can't create a 30-second, 60-second jingle any longer, right? That's one. Second is, it's not just television today. I think it was Unilever or Hindustan Lever that came out with the statistic that they're spending 50% of their money today on digital. Right?
Yes.
It's not only on television. Now, what do you do in digital? You cannot have a 60-second jingle. You cannot have a 30-second jingle. I mean, look at reels. More than 15, 20 seconds, nobody has the attention span, right? Nobody has the time. So therefore, to stand out in this clutter, you need the sensorial of sound, and the Mogo is 3 seconds. It is incredibly efficient because of the ability of a Mogo to start getting associated with a brand world.
Okay.
Right? So it's not just about recognition. It's not just, that is this brand. That's fine. But more importantly, it's a Pavlovian kind of effect where when you hear the Mogo consistently associated with the brand, consistently associated with the brand's imagery, with the brand's narrative, you hear that Mogo and you're suddenly in that brand world, right? You don't even need to see any communication from that brand. You already get a feeling of the brand. You're experiencing the brand. Your brand is triggered in just 3 seconds. That is why today a sonic identity is so critical, because it's not just about the Mogo. I spoke of the Mogoscape, right? So MasterCard, for example, when we created the entire sound of MasterCard globally, they use it as a background score for every one of their communication and end off with the Mogo. And so will 7-Up, right? If you look at all the 7-Up work that's coming out now, you will hear the background score is our Mogoscape, a lot of it, and signing off with the Mogo, right? So you can create different versions, different moods with the Mogoscape, but the Mogo remains constant.
Okay.
So a little, just to tell you about the Mogo. Now, one of the things we realized was that the Mogo it's got a lot of magic, but it's got to have some logic also, right? So how do we create the feeling of ultimate refreshment, right? So it is like once you take a sip of 7-Up, it's like a rapid elevation of your mood, your mind, body, and soul is instantly refreshed.
Got it.
So it's a transformative experience. And therefore the Mogo in 3 seconds had to communicate that transformative experience. Right? It's a hot day. You've just reached the 7-Up cooler. You open it. You have a sip. Boom.
And the Mogo plays in the background.
And you're transformed. So we used literally 7 notes. Right? And since the brand name lent itself beautifully to this very concept, we actually created a sort of stairway to heaven or stairway to ultimate refreshment, right? So up, 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 7 up, 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 7 up.
Got it.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Got it.
Up, 7 up. That was and with the category code, which is this also, we went through research, and what emerged was that the splash of water is very, very, evocative of refreshment. It's like a splash of cold water on your face, right? So we had to do a lot of work to actually fine tune that sonically. How big is the splash? Is it the splash of a wave, or is it smaller splash, just like a splash of water that you would splash?
That's where the neuroscience also comes in.
Yeah, exactly. So there were various other elements, the opening of a can, the fizz and pop of a can when it opens, etc. All of this was rigorously tested internally first, and then 7up did a global research, right? And this Mogo came out as the winner.
Okay.
So we had a couple of options, obviously, but this came out as the absolute winner across like all its markets, which is just quite amazing. For 3 seconds, people could just hear it once and they would hum it back. And so there's so many interesting things now that can be done with it for consumer activation, etc., etc.
You mentioned, we live in a world where it's 15 to 20 seconds of reels is the thing. Do you believe, and we also live in a world of virality where everybody looks to go viral.
Yes.
So do you think that a sonic identity could also help a brand stand out in the clutter and go viral because of it, because of having a sonic identity?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Today, music, as I mentioned, is such a part of Gen Z, right? And Gen Z and younger is 7up's target audience. So you've got a great sonic property, you've got a great musical property now. And how do you now allow consumers to have fun with it? Right? And we've all seen right from the days of the ice bucket challenge to, various things, how things go viral. And this is really the opportunity to take this now and create some really interesting user-generated content. Maybe, get artists to do their interpretations. The whole world is there now. It's just dependent on the ideas we can come up with and, put it out there. So virality is definitely the next step.
That's my headline. Virality is the next step for sonic identity.
Wow,
But
nice.
finally, like, what do you see the future for having a sonic identity for the brand? Because I was just looking the last 1 year, in India itself, brands like, of course, 7up, Asian Paints, Sting Energy, Britannia, all even earlier Myntra, have all, focused on sonic identity. So how do you see sonic identity now evolving? Because you've taken the first step in the retail space, right? And retail, that's a huge landscape. So how do you see this evolving?
Yeah, so of course with 7up, it's not just the retail space. I think it's a very big step for the entire FMCG world, right?
Correct.
It's not just going to be in retail, it's going to sign off their television spots, it's going to be viral on their social media, on their reels, etc., etc., etc. Of course, at their stores, at retail, the dispensers, all of that. But I think the future is really looking very bright, and we say the future is sound. Hashtag the future is sound. That's BrandMusiq's tagline. So we we think the possibilities are enormous, and more brands, it's just like no brand can think of launching without a logo, right?
Correct.
So I think the day is not far where the mogo is going to become equally important as the logo. And this is a term that I say, mogo is the new logo, right? So I think it's just a matter of time, or by all indications, not just in India, globally, we are talking to brands in the APAC region. We are talking to brands in UK. We are talking to brands in USA, in Europe. So Southeast Asia, it's just exploding, right? And the interest is, a lot of brands are now beginning to realize that the important sensorial of sound can add so much to brand emotion, what we call a brand's EQ, right, or emotional quotient, to brand experience. Today, brands are talking about experiences.
Experience. Correct.
Right. So Sonic can add to your brand's experience. It can bring you closer to the consumer. You mentioned the entire world of e-commerce. Today, very, very soon, we will even stop. Today, how often do I or my wife go to the grocer and have a chat? Chacha ji, kaisa hai? What? We do, everything is online now. Everything, Blinkit or Swiggy, Instamart, and so therefore, how do you differentiate now? How is sound going to play a role in that? All of that. How do you humanize brands in a transactional digital environment, right? So that is going to be the power of sound, but it cannot be random sound. There has to be a clear science behind it. There has to be a clear understanding of branding, and that's where we come from, because at BrandMusiq we literally have brand strategists who have worked in the entire world of marketing and brands for many, many years. And at the other end, we have musicians, right? So it's brand and music coming together in a strategic way to deliver tremendous value for brands.
Thank you so much, Rajeev, for your time. It was very insightful.
Thank you.